Welcome to UMBC's fall opening meeting. We will begin the program in 15 minutes. Please find your seats and get out your phones to join some opening activities. Our virtual guests should also join in.
Dissolve.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to UMBC's fall opening meeting. We will begin the program in a few moments and ask that you please take your seats. Please note that emergency exits are located throughout the building. In the event of an emergency or fire alarm, please proceed quickly and calmly out the nearest emergency exit. Out of courtesy to our speakers and our colleagues, we also ask that you silence your cell phones. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to UMBC's fall opening meeting. We will begin the program in a few moments and ask that you please take your seats. Please note that emergency exits are located throughout the building. In the event of an emergency or fire alarm, please proceed quickly and calmly out the nearest emergency exit. Out of courtesy to our speakers and our colleagues, we also ask that you silence your cell phones. Welcome to the 2021 UMBC Fall Opening Meeting. We are excited to have so many Retrievers join for this traditional celebration of the new academic year, including those who are here in the RAC and those who are participating online. We hope you enjoyed our pre-event activities using Slido, and we will invite additional participation from you later in the event, including the opportunity to ask questions. This will help us keep in touch with not only our audience on campus today, but also those of you participating remotely. Please keep your phones handy. Virtual attendees can also share greetings and messages in the YouTube chat. We would like to share UMBC's land acknowledgement. UMBC was established upon the land of the Piscataway and Susquehannock peoples. Over time, citizens of many more indigenous nations have come to reside in this region. We humbly offer our respects to all past, present, and future indigenous people connected to this place. Now, to begin our event, please join me in welcoming UMBC's top academic leader, Provost, and Senior Vice President, Dr. Philip Rouse.
Well, thank you so much, and I feel like I've waited a very long time to say this, but good afternoon and welcome home. So as we return to campus in the midst of this most unusual time, I know that each of us is experiencing a full range of emotions. We're happy to be able to return to our campus community and see one another in person for the first time in more than a year. But I know that many of us feel a little bit anxious about being among larger groups of people and re-engaging in many of the activities that we've not experienced in person for such a long time. And of course, we cannot embark on this year to come without some reflection on the professional and personal experiences and challenges that each of us have encountered due to the pandemic. This has been a time of great challenge and also a time of great loss for many in our community. In a few moments, I'm going to ask for a moment of silence to recognize that our UMBC community has not been immune to stress and loss, and to remember the community members, family members, and friends we have lost, and to honor the many community members who have played and continue to play extraordinary caregiving roles throughout the pandemic. And I also know that many of us are also thinking this morning about our service members, civilians, and the people of Afghanistan affected by recent events, including the violence at Kabul airport that has just been reported this morning, as well as all the victims of senseless violence abroad and at home. So please, a moment of silence. Thank you so much. I've been so inspired by watching our community pull together and continue our steadfast commitment to our core mission. I've seen faculty redesign courses in order not only to provide an online or remote education, but to continue to build deep and meaningful relationships with our students. I've seen our staff evolve in all the different ways that they work every day to make sure that our university and our community can meet the needs of both our colleagues and our students. And of course, I've also seen students demonstrate remarkable resilience and grit to make steady and significant and strong progress in their own academic careers. And so to each of you, I say, well done and thank you. So as we move into our traditional fall opening program and campus updates, I want to take a moment to recognize our audience members who are participating remotely. Over the past year and a half, we've made great strides in more effectively connecting with our students, faculty, and staff who do not physically set foot on campus. And this is especially true for our community members at the universities of Shady Grove. We are so proud of our faculty and staff who support our unique and academically talented student body at Shady Grove. And I'm pleased to share with you a short video which includes greetings from USG.
Greetings from Montgomery County. I'm Chelsea Moyer and serve as director of UMBC Shady Grove. We are excited to take part in this special UMBC Shady Grove highlight at the fall opening meeting. The UMBC Shady Grove team and I would like to provide those of you at our Cadenceville campus a short glimpse of what we're looking forward to this fall 2021. I want to share a special welcome with all of our students that are watching the event remotely and encourage you to leave shout-outs in the chat for those students. While we collectively are in the process of emerging from an incredibly difficult 16+ months, there is so much to celebrate as we reflect upon UMBC's continued academic program growth and expansion of opportunity at the universities at Shady Grove, despite the challenges we faced. These include the growth of UMBC's Translational Life Science Technology program, which launched at USG in fall 2018, the successful launch of UMBC's BS in Computer Science program at USG in fall 2020. Yes, we launched in the middle of a global pandemic, and the anticipated launch of UMBC's BS in Mechanical Engineering at USG in fall 2022. Our fairly recent emergence into the STEM arena and the expansion of STEM programming at UMBC Shady Grove within the last several years provides a diversity of academic degree options that build upon the strong social science and humanity programs that have served as the backbone of UMBC Shady Grove for just over 2 decades. The addition of USG's Biomedical Sciences and Engineering building, which officially opened in November 2019, has provided a wonderful, state-of-the-art, innovative space brimming with possibility to create dynamic, applied, and collaborative learning experiences, enabling our students to be workforce ready. A perfect highlight of those synergies and partnerships that make UMBC Shady Grove, well, UMBC Shady Grove, is the Biotech Boot Camp being offered this summer to train displaced workers as a result of the pandemic in preparation for in-demand and entry-level jobs in the biotech profession. This program was initially piloted in January 2021 and is being offered a second time this summer in partnership with UMBC Shady Grove's Translational Life Science Technology program, Montgomery College, WorkSource Montgomery, and through the financial support of Montgomery County government to empower individuals along their career paths and to support biotech workforce development needs in the regional area. As we move toward fall 2021, UMBC Shady Grove sends our very best from Montgomery County.
Now, before I turn the stage over to my other colleagues, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on the opportunities that lie ahead for all of us. Opportunities that will allow us to further advance our aspirations as a scholarly community, that are founded on the hard work, commitment, and endeavors of all members of our community, guided and supported by the remarkable leadership of President Hrabowski. I, like some of you, joined UMBC just before Freeman became our president, and I've seen before my own eyes the transformation of our community that he has led over the past 3.5 decades. And as a personal reflection, and I hope you'll forgive me for this, Freeman, perhaps what is one of the most remarkable and distinctive characteristics of Freeman's leadership is his ability to recognize, understand, and facilitate the aspirations of our entire community to create a model public research university. A university that's now recognized as a model of commitment to inclusive excellence and supporting the success of our students, faculty, and staff from all backgrounds through a culture of caring. In Freeman's most recent book, The Empowered University, the book begins with the following statement: "It's not about me, it's about us." And so as we enter and move through this important transitional period in the life of our community, I want to finish by sharing with you the following thought: that each of us holds in our hands the legacy of Freeman's leadership and that of all members of our community who built this university into what it is today. But as Freeman often says, success is never final. So that legacy is not static, it's dynamic, it's forward-looking, and it belongs to all of us. It represents the strong foundation of our shared values and our shared commitment, upon which each of us, through our own individual action and leadership, can continue this incredibly important work of building and advancing this remarkable university to even greater heights. And I'd like to thank you for allowing me to share that thought with you today. And so, thank you so much. I'm obviously blushing, but thank you. And now it's my great privilege to introduce a number of my colleagues to the stage. They're actually already here to share some important words of reflection and appreciation. So please welcome Nancy Young, who's our Vice President for Student Affairs, Carl Steiner, our Vice President for Research, Jack Zeus, Vice President of Information Technology, Candice Dodson-Reed, who's Chief of Staff and Executive Director of the Office of Equity and Inclusion, and Yvette Mosey-Ross, Vice Provost of Enrollment Management. Thank you so much.
Great job. Great job.
I'm trying to see, it is on, very clearly it's on. Good morning and welcome home, as our provost said. I'm Nancy Young, and I have the privilege to start our reflections together today. So what did the past year mean? Nothing like starting with an easy question. There are probably as many different answers to that question as there are in this room or on our screens. But for me, the past year simply challenged me to get up every day and do what needed to be done. Or as Marge Piercy said, to be of use. She writes, "The people I love best," just a moment. I've been here as long as Freeman, so I need these glasses. The people I love best jump into work head first without dallying in the shallows and swim off with sure strokes almost out of sight. They seem to become natives of that element, the black, sleek heads of seals bouncing like half-submerged balls. I love people who harness themselves an ox to a heavy cart, who pull like water buffalo with massive patience, who strain in the mud and muck to move things forward, who do what has to be done again and again. And so for me, as many of you know, Dr. Hrabowski's mother was an English teacher. And he often honors her legacy by inspiring us with beautiful words from poetry or prose. My own mother loved poetry as well. So as I began these reflections, it shouldn't surprise me that this poem immediately came to mind. To be of use, to dive in, to simply do what needed to be done as our collective community did this past year, created much of the meaning I found. We all made Herculean efforts to pivot to the online world, with babies on our laps and dogs barking in the background. With incredibly successful outcomes, we are all grateful for everything you did. And while one always runs the risk of missing an important contribution, we also want to pay special tribute to the members of our community that never left the physical campus and got up every single day simply to be of use, to dive in headfirst into the mud and muck, and to move us forward into this new world. They helped us to stay healthy, kept the day-to-day operations moving, and kept the buildings and ground looking beautiful. And as some of us discovered when we returned to offices to find plants we'd abandoned for dead, looking surreally alive, they even watered our plants. So thank you to the facilities staff and the other staff that came in to keep buildings across the campus operating, to our housekeeping and dining service partners, and of course to our 24/7 campus police, and Chip, who was always here keeping us safe. I also want to give us a big shout out to a group of people who are near and dear to me. The student affairs staff who tirelessly work to assess student needs and then to support students in our entire community, literally around the clock. Words fail me to say more. Our thank you feels inadequate, but it is nonetheless both heartfelt and earnest. I and we on this stage are all grateful. Staff, faculty, and students also remained on campus to support our labs. But before I turn it over to Dr. Steiner to highlight these important efforts, I wanted to invite you to enjoy a few portraits of our campus sustainers.
Thank you, Dr. Young. Thank you, Nancy, and the staff at UMBC Magazine for putting together those powerful portraits and stories. For those of you who want to see some more about this, go to magazine.umbc.edu, like I go probably at least once a week. There's always some new stuff there. First of all, it's great to see so many of you here again. And this morning, as I was digging deep in my closet and for the first time found this outfit again, like many of you, I also looked on my calendar and I realized today is the 8th anniversary of my start at UMBC. So I'm one of the young kids on the stage, but Freeman, thank you very much. Those 8 years passed like 8 weeks, although I know the last 17 months felt like eternity to all of us. But while we were working from home, many of our colleagues in the research and creative community have come back to the campus literally a year, 15 months ago. And you know many of our national leaders that are alumni that have been very, very active in the fight against COVID. I can also share with you with pride that many of our faculty, staff, and students have been actively working on relevant research to inform both our understanding of the virus, but also the impact of this pandemic on our communities. I want to give a big shout out to all the researchers and to all the really dedicated people on our campus who've been working in this difficult environment. Because of the grit, the ingenuity, and also the commitment of our faculty, we had another highly successful year for the funding. But funding is only a part of it. It's obviously the impact that we have. But I'm proud to tell you that today UMBC is among the top 100 public institutions in federal R&D funding. And that puts us in a really exclusive club. So again, Freeman, we've come a long way, right? Big thank you to the many graduate students and staff members that really have done so much work to make this possible. Just back in April, we had our 25th Undergraduate Research and Creative Achievement Day. Most of us call it ERCAT. And they took really full advantage of the virtual world we now live in by reaching more viewers than ever by connecting online with people from as far away as South America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. We had over 11,000 visitors during that week alone that visited UMBC virtually. That's an incredible number. On the back end, I can tell you, research and creative achievement at UMBC have indeed become stronger than ever, despite the challenges that we have been facing together. And finally, if you have not done so already, you should check out our new faculty expert search tool that was just launched. I went on it several times, and every time I'm like, oh, I didn't know that, and I'm supposed to know that. So it's a really useful tool. Go check it out. There's so much expertise, so much caring on this campus. I cannot begin to tell you all about it in this short time. With that, I want to hand it over, and as we are all returning to campus, you notice not only this building, but the whole campus looked magnificent, but also the offices and the classrooms have changed. So Jack Seuss, can you tell us a little bit about the work that your team in Do It has done over the last 18 months?
Thanks, Carl. As a personal reflection, though, I want to highlight 45 years ago this week, I was getting ready to start classes as a 17-year-old, getting ready to come to UMBC. Thank you. So one change that many staff found as they returned to their office was their phone was missing. This phone modernization project that we started during the pandemic turned out to be critical in supporting remote work and office staff as they were doing things from home, and we're continuing to evolve this as we go forward. I also want to thank all my team members who were here this summer and have been working on to update and enhance our classrooms. The work that they're doing is just essential to supporting our teaching and learning and making sure that we can support remote learners as well as those on campus. I also deeply appreciate the tireless work of all my team members and the innovation they brought to supporting our community as we transition to online learning and online work. What they were able to do as part of our COVID-19 response was wonderful. They were instrumental in developing systems that supported our testing, our contact tracing, and the collection of vaccine information so that we can tell that we're all safe here on campus. This work was essential not just because of the pandemic, but because it allows us to make sure that we can say, welcome home, retrievers. We help those near and far be a part of the UMBC community. I consider this work intrinsically tied to our campus work in access and equity. And I don't just say that as a segue to our next update from Candace and the Office of Equity and Inclusion.
Thank you, Jack. We have all been incredibly busy as we navigate a global pandemic, a divisive election, and a number of social injustices over the past 18 months. But our teams have been so responsive and remained strong. We continue to grow and evolve in the Office of Equity and Inclusion so that we can help the campus fulfill our core values of inclusive excellence and equity. We were excited to welcome 5 new team members, almost all of whom started within the past year. This team has extended our capabilities to conduct investigations related to Title IX and civil rights issues, including discrimination, harassment, hate, and bias. And it's important to say that we don't just investigate. We also respond to every question, complaint, or request for help that comes into our office. We work on outreach efforts with community members, our campus partners, to make sure that they feel supported and know that UMBC is a safe home where everyone can show up as their authentic selves. OEI also engages the campus community with the Inclusion Council, a group consisting of students, faculty, staff, and alumni from every college and division. The group advises OEI and acts as ambassadors for the office across campus. The Inclusion Council spent the past year working on a series of recommendations and proposals for the campus, which we were excited to share with you very soon. We are now accepting applications for membership on the Inclusion Council, so please ask me or any member of the OEI team about the opportunity. You can learn more about this and all of the work that we do at oei.umbc.edu. I want to take a moment to thank the team members in OEI, as well as the Inclusion Council and working groups, and the students, faculty, and staff members who have supported this important work. I appreciate you all. As we transition from thinking about where we have been and lean into the work of where we are going as a community, I am pleased to welcome Dr. Yvette Mosey-Ross, Vice Provost for Enrollment Management and Planning, who will provide some exciting news about enrollment. Thank you.
Thank you, Candace. Welcome, fellow Retrievers. I am excited to share some new ways that UMBC continues to make history. So on August 31st, we will officially welcome almost 4,000 new students, including almost 2,100 first-time, first-year students to our campus, making this, absolutely, making this the largest fall class, entering fall class in UMBC's history. Shout out to both our undergraduate and graduate marketing, admissions, and enrollment teams, and our faculty for all of their efforts in helping us attract one of the most talented and diverse incoming classes ever. Also, thanks to our college deans, department chairs, and faculty who have worked throughout the summer to provide access to the classes that our history-making class need. And we are equally excited about welcoming over 100 Finish Line students who are returning to UMBC to finish their degrees after, in some cases, an over 10-year break in their studies. So welcome home, Retrievers. Finally, enrollments for continuing students are healthy as well. To date, we see about a 4.15% increase in overall enrollments, including undergraduate, graduate, new, and continuing students. Now, these numbers will certainly shift over the next week as we reach the start of the class, but the trajectory is certainly headed in the right direction. So let's give a hand to our advising and student success teams who have been providing critical academic support to our students during what has undoubtedly been a challenging time for many of our students. So before the start of the classes next Tuesday, I hope that each of you will take a moment to welcome our new, continuing, and returning students to UMBC. Please post on social media using the hashtag UMBCWelcome. Also, download our Welcome New Students digital background, and of course, welcome them in person when you see them on campus this weekend and next week. Now, I know that one of the places we are excited to welcome our new students to is this beautifully renovated new building. So please join me in welcoming a number of our colleagues and partners who helped make this possible.
Please welcome to the podium Greg Simmons, Vice President of Institutional Advancement.
Thank you, Tom. Hi, everybody. Great to see everybody. Give Yvette and Nancy and Carl and Jack and Candace and the teams they represent, give them a round of applause for their updates today. Welcome to the folks in the room. Welcome to the folks joining us online today. I've been waiting to say this for a long time. We're back in the rack, baby. Come on, give us a round of applause. This is an amazing building. If you haven't had a chance to walk around, I encourage you to. We're going to officially open it on Saturday. Gary Wallstetter and his team will be providing tours to people. I think our student tour guides are down here, and they're going to show you what this place looks like. It really is fantastic. Our work in institutional advancement is about telling stories, telling UMBC stories, right? Helping people understand the grit and the strength and the tenacity and the capacity of the people who make this community. And this building represents one of those stories in so many ways, right? So I was joking with Orion, we were talking about being an English major earlier, so maybe it's a metaphor, maybe it's not, I don't know. But this is one of the oldest buildings on campus. It's not older than Jack, but it's one of the oldest buildings. We were trying to figure out which part of the building would hear first. But it really is, right? This is a part of our history. It's a part of the experience that people have had at UMBC. And over the past 18 months, it's been transformed. It's been transformed by the resourcefulness, by the patience, the tenacity, the creative minds of the people who make up the UMBC community. And now what it's going to do is help us, just like Jack has continued to help us do for his 45 years, it's going to help us achieve the goals that we have as a UMBC community in so many ways. So we're going to do a little bit of a ribbon cutting. So while we kind of reorganize, I'm going to ask our campus partners to join us behind the ribbon. I'm going to ask our platform party, Dr. Rabowski, Lynn, Philip, everybody else who wants to come down, Mershad, Joel, come join us down here. We'll be back in 1 second. We're going to switch to handhelds, okay? Come on down.
Okay.
Come on down, Yvette, Carl. They're coming down. Everybody come on down. While people are assembling, I want to introduce Len Karen, the Associate Vice President for Facilities Management. Len, tell folks a little bit while they're organizing what they're going to see in this building, what the building really represents.
Right, thank you. So the $28 million budget for this renovation came mostly from bond funds and also university funds. It allowed us to renovate 77%, or about 102,000 square feet of this facility. So, what does a $28 million renovation really do for us? It has doubled the weight training space. It has doubled the group fitness space. It has quadrupled the cardio space. It's brought us a new cycling studio. It brought us functional fitness and personal training space. It also gave us a new roof and allowed us to do mechanical, electrical, and security upgrades throughout the entire facility. And we were also able to renovate the locker rooms for swim, the changing rooms, and the restrooms. And I know that anyone that's worked out here before will appreciate that.
So go ahead, Len.
It takes a team of talented and dedicated people to pull off such an amazing transformation. Joining us today are some of our off-campus design and construction partners from MCA Architecture, James Posey Associates, and J. Vinton Schaefer and Sons. We're also joined by our UMB Service Center partners and our on-campus design and construction team, which includes Joe Rexing, who's joining us virtually, and our project manager, David Brooks.
Give him a hand. Also joining us up here kind of as a group of folks from the UMBC community have helped in so many ways. We have Brian Barrio, the athletic director, Gary Wallstetter, the associate athletic director for physical rec, We have Ray Solner from PSS. We've even dragged some folks out of retirement. We got Tom Meyer and John Jankishay, right, who really helped think about and conceptualize what this building can do. And what it's going to do, it's going to provide more space for physical recreation and intramural sports. It's going to provide places for student affairs to have activities for our students and the experiences that they want to have. It's going to help Yvette and her team as we're trying to recruit new retrievers into this building. And it's going to be a place where we can all work together to meet our health and wellness and the goals for balance that we know are an important part of what we all strive for in our work and our personal lives. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Mirshaw Devon, the president of the Student Government Association, Joel Tyson, the president of the GSA, to work with Freeman and our colleagues, and we are going to cut the ribbon, okay? Ready? On the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, give them a hand. Thank you, everybody.
Not only are we welcoming many students to our campus for the first time this fall, we are also welcoming a tremendous number of new faculty and staff. Please join me in welcoming Jill Weinecht-Wardell, representing the Department of Human Resources, Orianne Smith, Faculty Senate President, Ray Solner, Jr., Vice President of the Professional Staff Senate, and Melody Wright, President of the Non-Exempt Staff Senate, who will introduce our newest colleagues.
Good afternoon, Retrievers. It is so wonderful to see and be seen by each of you. I think we have taken that for granted before. Now I don't think any of us are taking it for granted. I bring greetings from Valerie Thomas, our Chief Human Resources Officer, who is participating virtually alongside many of you today. This past year has been full of so much learning and growth for us, individually and collectively, and I am so impressed at how far we've come. I've been reflecting on today's event and our welcome home message. The word that keeps coming to mind for me is homecoming. Today's event can feel like a homecoming of sorts as we gather together to kick off the academic year. But homecoming might also be a state of mind, a choice to be in this moment that we can generate in every moment, wherever we are, whether near or far. We hope that you know that wherever you are, whether near or far, UMBC will always be your home. Traditionally at this event, we would welcome all of our new faculty and staff in person. However, during the pandemic, we have had over 214 new hires. Let's give us a round of applause for that. This is surely a testament to the strength of our community. We are still a great place to work, and we continue to attract very talented people who are excited to work here and make a contribution. Part of the reason why so many of you choose to work here is the spirit of generosity and support in this community. I want to take a moment and show off the Maryland Charity Cup, which is a perfect example. Yeah, another round of applause. You may not know this, but we have been awarded this trophy 6 years in a row, and in 2020, UMBC topped the charts of all the state agencies, contributing more than $250,000 last year. Amazing. I am always proud to give and thank each of you who did, and especially thank our campaign coordinators and chairs. Now on to the fun part. Our first order of business today is to officially welcome all of our new faculty and staff. Given how many of you there are, we're going to do this in 2 ways. In a moment, we're going to play a short video with all of your names and departments. While that rolls, we invite you to, those of you in the room who are new, to please stand and wave so that we can warmly welcome you. For those of you participating remotely, please shout out in the chat hi and let us know what department you've joined. I'm sure your colleagues will also want to celebrate you. Are you ready?
Good afternoon, colleagues. Before we start, I want to take a moment to reflect on the importance of shared governance at UMBC. It is what makes our campus unique and knits us together as a community. It enabled us to get through these past 18 months with grace and with integrity. We are and will continue to be stronger together because of our commitment to shared governance, which is at the core of who we are as a university. So I am excited to get the best job, which is giving away our prizes. Thank you, and I mean it. Thank you to all the departments who made this possible. We will be giving away 8 cash prizes of $100 each. Thank you for all that you have done to keep our community together. It is so wonderful to see so many of you here today.
Thanks, Orianne. Wow, over 200 new members of our community. The Professional Staff Senate is thrilled to welcome so many new people to our campus. I'm sure many of you are just starting to learn your way around, and some of you might just be curious to see what's changed in the last 18 months. Please stop by our table at the front in the lobby for a campus tour, or just introduce yourself and say hi. Professional Staff Senate proudly represents and supports exempt staff across campus. It's a great way to learn more and meet people from all over. I've been with PSS for 5 years now, and I have to say, it's been one of the most rewarding and fun experiences that I've come across. Our monthly meetings are virtual, and they're open to the public. We would love for you to join us. For more information about our meetings and events, follow us on our MyUMBC group or at pss.umbc.edu. Now to tell us about NESS, Melody.
Thanks, Ray. The Non-Exempt Staff Senate is proud to represent our colleagues across campus. I've been a part of NESS for 8 years and would strongly encourage you to find a way to get involved at UMBC. Immerse yourself in the culture that makes UMBC so unique. That might mean getting involved in one of the senates, mentoring a student or a student organization, mentoring a colleague, finding a mentor for yourself. There are many ways to get involved across campus, which is even easier now with remote participation. You can be involved in a small way or a big way, but please be involved. Now we get to the really fun stuff. Giving away money. Who wants money? Anybody? Everyone who registered for the event before Monday were given a ticket and entered into a random drawing. This includes anyone who registered for a virtual seat. So, whose day is going to get a little bit brighter? The first winner is... Drum roll, please. Cindy Greenwood. Oriane?
Okay, well, this is seriously exciting. All right, I heard all that drum roll action back there. Right? Represent me, okay. All right, so drum roll, please, for the next winner is Charlotte Keniston. Roy?
Our next winner is Oriane Smith. No. Sorry, Oriane, you can't win.
Totally legit.
Nona Mahadi.
Is it my turn? All right, you ready for another one? Another drum roll. Our next winner is Marjorie Pineda.
This feels like a game show. Let's give away some more money. The next winner is Bruce Herman.
Okay, folks, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. All right. The next winner is Mercedes Arias. Okay.
All right, last one. Anna Viswathana.
All right, and last but not least, a big drum roll. Big, big, big. You know you want this money, right? All right, come on. Here we go. And it's Josh Abrams. Thank you all.
Now, don't worry, prize winners. We're going to be reaching out to you by email, whether you're here today or not. And stay tuned. We have 2 more prizes that Dr. Browski wanted to give away.
First, though, it is our pleasure to turn the podium over to our president, Freeman Hrabowski, for his annual State of the University address. Please join me in welcoming Freeman Hrabowski.
That is so sweet to know you all. That is so sweet. I have certain people who have the responsibility, like Pat McDermott and others, of helping me to remain a big boy, as we say. Anytime my mother would get emotional, she would say, "You're messing me up somehow." I am so delighted to be here today. This is always a special day, and it's especially special for so many reasons. The fact that we are back in here is a miracle. Let's just start there. That we're back on this campus is a miracle on so many levels. On so many levels. I want to thank the Shared Governance people. Melody just got her master's degree. Give Melody a round of applause. I want to thank all of the Shared Governance leaders for what they've done, because when you think about it, it is so important to have leadership at that level. And I especially want to thank them for the vision to establish the UMBC Cares Faculty and Staff Emergency Fund, and for providing support for caregivers and others, and to those who help with the Black and Gold Fund Emergency Fund to help students. Give all of them a round of applause for what they do. And while it's not in my script, we need to take a minute and thank all the people who've been involved in the CPCC, the COVID Planning Committee, Coordinating Committee, that's led by Lynn Schaefer and Philip Rouse and everybody, all the subcommittees. But thank you all for everything, all of you, for all the meetings. It just doesn't happen. And then this event, and I was so glad that we talked about spreading the wealth of information and having a lot of people talking, all of those who've been talking. I want to thank the people in OIA and in Student Affairs, and I want to give a big shout out to Marie. This is the first time doing this, and she did a great job. I know Lisa Greg and everybody. Give Marie a round of applause. Really proud of all of you and what you're doing. The simple truth is, from everything you've heard, we are doing better than ever. We are stronger than ever in a challenging time with so much still to do, but we know we can get through this period. These challenges, though, have taught us the importance of understanding others' perspectives, of being more compassionate than ever, of thinking about the fact that we have so much in common and so many differences that we should appreciate, whether talking about gender or race or LGBTQ or people from different countries, different religions, people with disabilities. There's something to be said, though, about what it means to be human. And we've all had to think about that during this period. As we think about the challenges in Afghanistan, as we think about the challenges in Baltimore City, it's all about ways in which we connect and feel for other people. And so I want to take a few minutes and talk about where we are today, what we're doing, and where we will be going. The enrollment is strong. Make no mistake, budget is based on enrollment. It's so good to see our students back. I had the privilege this morning of talking with resident assistants, and they were so impressive in asking questions of me about the future of UMBC and asking about me. And then the question that was so terribly significant was, what do we do for our new students, for the freshmen and sophomores and others who've not had a chance to know the culture of UMBC? At a time like this, how do we give them support with all the challenges we think about in mental health and the other kinds of issues that all of us have gone through? And so I want to take a few minutes and talk about, yes, this. It's a big deal to have the biggest new student class than ever before. A big round of applause to that. It's a big deal. Big deal. Big deal. There are campuses struggling right now with that. And then just a few shout outs to that fabulous mock trial team that beat wonderfully enriched Yale University. Give the mock trial team. And the fact that we've got 2 Rhodes Scholars, we've produced half the Rhodes Scholars in the University System of Maryland at this point. There have only been 4 in 2 hours. That we are one of the leading producers of Fulbright Scholars, along with some of the Ivies in big places like University of Texas and Penn State. We have as many Fulbrights as they. Big round of applause for Fulbrights. The success of the Cyber Dogs in the 2021 Mid-Atlantic first place in cyber defense competition. Our student athletic teams from the men's basketball, men's lacrosse, women's volleyball, and women's softball winning either regular season or conference championships. Big round of applause for our student athletes. The fact that we had 70 student athletes to get a 4.0, huge deal, 70. And overall, a 3.2 for all athletes on this campus. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And then to our alumni, make no mistake, this state admires our psychology graduate from 1976, Speaker Adrienne Jones. Give her a big round of applause. First woman, first black Speaker of the House. And if just look at the legislation they passed to address economic disparities, to look at police reform, to talk about fair treatment of state employees, she knows how to bring people together, just as Nancy Pelosi does, to get people to move together from all kinds of backgrounds and to help people. Well, that she is our product. I want our students to know they can one day be the Speaker of the House. And then others that we have that we talk about who make such a difference as alums. When you think about it, you can think about the fact that when you took that vaccine, whether it was Moderna or Johnson & Johnson, which one am I forgetting? Very good. I knew that, I think. Or Pfizer. The fact is that technology, that mRNA, was developed by our graduate, Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett. Give her a big round of applause. Big round of applause. And when you get a chance, look up the name Dr. Caitlin Sattler, who is the NIH researcher doing the national circle on all the asymptomatic patients. Big question. How do we deal with that issue? Wonderful. And her TED Talk got twice as many hits as mine. Look her up. It's huge. Huge. She's one half my age with twice as many hits, all right? And then the last Surgeon General, Jerome Adams, but the Health Commission in Baltimore City, Letitia Zarasi, all are our graduates, and so many more. And then when looking at ways in which our faculty helped with the research, from the work done to evaluate compounds to be used in treating the disease, to developing early screening tools to detect the virus, to studying the impact of the virus on people with dementia, to looking at discrimination against Chinese Americans related to COVID, all the way to advising the National Association of Governors. All of those faculty members, big round of applause for all of them, and many more. You've already heard about the $84 million in grants this year. We actually have $500 million in proposals, more than ever before. Major grants connected with our working with College Park and the Army Research Lab. Big grants, $68 million. You'll be seeing that one. To grants involving energy fusion, to grants involving adult literacy, to I like the fact that we have grants that focus on human problems in so many ways. For example, when you think about the Mellon Foundation, we have 2 grants already that focus on public humanities and the inclusion imperative. And another one that I'm really excited about that involves, amazingly, working with both College Park and Morgan State. And our own Dean Moffitt, we're going to be hearing about that one very soon. But give them a hand for working with other institutions to make a big difference. And so continuing the grants that we've had before, the major grants, is particularly involving NASA. And thinking about one that's at $63 million for the Center for Space Science and Technology, and the other one at $60-some million for the Heliophysics Institute. And you're going to have a test on all of this, so get ready for the test, all right? It's a big deal. We have one of our colleagues right now who has a book that is one of the 3 finalists for the most prestigious award given for the study of African American history, and it's called the Frederick Douglass Award. Keep your fingers crossed. We're very proud, very proud. We're also proud of a major grant from William Grant involving the impact of the Black Lives Movement on police policies and reducing racial inequality. You're seeing how our faculty colleagues are working in all these areas to make a difference. And you've seen the Maryland Institute for Innovative Computing. That's with the governor, and the governor working with our people in a variety of disciplines to look at how we help with cyber attacks throughout our state. It makes a difference when our colleagues, our experts, are seen as some of the best. And then the Research Park is doing well. Could have been, when those challenging times, those 130 companies could not have made it, yet they all made it. Are very healthy, very proud of that. Greg leads that. And what's significant is that we have companies graduating. And one of those is Fearless Solutions, considered probably the most successful minority company in the state at this point, just got another grant for $120 million. He graduated from our company from being in our research park, and he's down in Baltimore City giving jobs to people, helping people in all those ways, women, minorities, and other people. And then in student affairs, again, think about all the people who helped our students who were on campus. From student affairs, from administrative affairs, from all the people who were here in those difficult periods. Give all of them a round of applause who were on this campus. The technology people, we could not have made it without them. All the technology people, give them a round of applause. OIT and all of them. Big deal, big deal. But we literally have, in the Career Center, had 1,200 unique employers working with us to staff at a lot of virtual employer visits, thousands and thousands of jobs available and gotten by our colleagues and students in thinking about how you make it through a difficult period. When looking at the Center for Democracy and Civic Life, we are now in the top 10 in the All-In Campus Democracy Challenge for student voters. Give a big round of applause for what the students were doing in that. And as you might expect, it's taken a lot to manage the operations and COVID protocols in managing, involving quarantining, and all throughout last year and what we will have this year, and health education. We're very proud of all of those people. In the international front, we completed the ACE, American Council on Education Internationalization Laboratory Program, a number of recommendations involving the fact that we are engaged in the curriculum, engaged in co-curricular activities, engaged in more and more students going from other places. Many of you you've heard me say, well over half of our students have a parent from another country. How do we take that and use that experience to become broader in our thinking about what it means to be a citizen? And so as I think about inclusion, I think about the Equity and Inclusion Council that's now under the Office of Equity and Inclusion. You heard Candace talking about that. And what's significant is that they have come up with major recommendations. Our dean, Keith Bowman, led with Ariana this council of faculty and staff and students. We'll all be hearing about those recommendations about ways that we can improve. It will be a part of shared governance, very significant. And then from the division of IT, the one most important one to me is the idea, as we work between administrative areas across the campus, the new business processes being used in the remote work setting, and making constant use of analytics, and creating the Pivot program, where almost 70% of faculty were involved in improving the teaching and learning process for all people. Finally, you know, we already applauded the Maryland Charities campaign. We're getting ready to go into another, but all of the presidents know I'm the most passionate about that, because we are privileged in the state of Maryland in so many ways. We are the wealthiest state by many measures in the country, which means in the world. We are the best educated. And people think of state employees, while we all want to give more money, when compared to the rest of our state, we are better off in so many ways. And yet, I am always challenging my colleagues around our state and to do more. And during a challenging time of adversity, it would be very easy to go inward and to think only about self. But you all went way beyond that. That $250,000 is a big deal. Do you realize, well, while we are only 10% of the university system of Maryland, and we're proud to be a part of that system and very proud of our chancellor and the Board of Regents, the fact is we raised 42% of all the money in that system. Give yourselves a round of applause. And so where have we come from? In 1992 and 1987, I came here with some others. I was a young 36-year-old and had no idea what to expect. My wife, who had taught here for years, told me, really nice people, Freeman. She was the one who told me that. From a Dean Neville, some of you may remember, and other people, Anita Barber in education. And I came and I found just that. And here we are looking now between 92 and today, 2022. That 30-year period, so much has been done by so many of you. For the new people, people have given their lives and their careers to be here. And so our budget in 92, anybody have a guess of how much the budget was in 92? Anybody? What do you think? I heard 90 million. Anybody else? How much? 3 million. Ooh, we were a little better than that. But we were at $100 million, a little over $100 million. Today we at $500 million, from $100 to $500 million. We've increased. The endowment was under $2 million in 92, under $2 million. Today we've gotten up to $125 million. Big deal. Give us a round of applause. We've had over $1 billion in construction. We had 72 countries represented then. We now have over 100. We launched what we have at Shady Grove. Our research has gone from under $10 million to over $80 million. We have continued to develop in so many ways. And what I want you to think about is that, amazingly, the enrollment, has gone up from 10,000 to 14,000. But what you may not know is we were producing about 1,700 degrees then. A lot of students were not making it. Now we've gone from 35% of the students succeeding to 70%, with another 15% going to other places and doing quite well. So we've gone from 1,700 degrees per year to 3,500. We've doubled the number of students who succeed. Big round of applause for students succeeding. And amazingly, since 92, as I told the students today, what percent? So if you're an RA, don't give the answer. What percent of all the 85,000 graduates, what percent do you think have graduated since 1992? Anybody? I heard 75 from somebody. Somebody else? 50? Anybody else? Give the money to the 75 guy, whoever that was. 75% of all graduates since 92. Think about it. And so what does the future hold? Let me give you some of the goals, and you will be able to read all of this. I'm just getting some highlights. It is welcoming and supporting for this next year, supporting this record class, giving them the support they need, letting them know we care. It's maintaining a strong focus on the physical and mental well-being of our students, faculty, and staff. It is continuing to build our presence at University of Shady Grove. It is strengthening our relationships with employers and public and private partnerships. It's continuing to develop flexible online options as we hear what students are interested in, and students at different levels of their education. It is completing the capital campaign. It's building our relationships with the research initiatives. It is advancing to that top level of Research One status. We are doing so well. We simply need to produce more of the PhDs in the humanities, social sciences, interdisciplinary areas in all those ways. And so I want to close with this, because you're going to get a chance to hear a lot of great stuff from Lynn Schaefer in just a minute about construction. I want to close with this. Yesterday, the governor called to thank me, and what he said in essence was, this state really admires UMBC. And so, of course, you know my motto is, a day without an ask is a day without sunshine. So it was a great opportunity, and we're asking for some things, and the governor said he was going to help us. So give Governor Hogan a round of applause with the legislature for whatever we can get this year. And I close with this story. You know, we Southerners, you've heard me say, Baltimore is the upper South. I'm from the deep South, little kid from Birmingham. We Southerners really love stories, like OIA, Greg. And here's the story. Ruby Liu, a young woman who came here as a 17-year-old from Hong Kong. And she was frightened coming to big America. Her mother was worried about her, sewed money in her clothes. She was still learning English. And a wonderful American family, the Pouches, Fred and Virginia Pouch, in Howard County, decided to have a student, an international student, to give her support. And she came to this campus, and she got a lot of support from UMBC and from the economics department in particular. Today, and you know that name Pouch, because it is the very famous family of Randy Pouch, who gave the last lecture from Carnegie Mellon. If you've not looked at the last lecture from Carnegie Mellon, and in that lecture he talks about what's important at the end of my life. He knew he was going to die, and it was to have the positive attitude and to never, never, never give up. And out of that house of love, they helped this young woman become a well-educated college student, graduating from UMBC with honors in economics, going on to Hopkins, and then going to Wall Street at Goldman, and then now today, she is one of the leading venture capitalists in all of Asia, and one of a handful of women in that business. And she said, I don't want anything named after me. She said, I want the faculty to know, and the UMBC community to know, that we appreciate your caring about people who come from other countries, and that the history and the future of the world will be inextricably tied to how we treat those children from all over the world, because they will go back and they can say either I believe in the American dream and for the humankind or not. She says, but you taught me to dream and to believe in myself. And I want to say thank you to UMBC, to the Pouch family. And so she has just given us not a pledge, but just a cash $1 million to start a professorship in economics. Would you give her a round of applause? And here is my message. This is the house that love has built. We show the world that we can transform lives through education. You have taken a little boy from Birmingham, a little black kid who had never sat in a room with white people, who was told he couldn't go to the University of Alabama just because of the color of his skin. And you have said to me and so many people, we believe in you. And it's because of this, we are now UMBC. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we're getting there. Thank you. And of course, somebody had to tell me what to do next. And I am to bring up our own Lynn Schaefer, who's done an amazing job this year. Give her a round of applause for helping us. Come on up. An amazing job. And what's really nice is that we are going to give out some other prizes. All right? So.
All right. You go ahead. You just tell them what the prizes
Okay.
are.
You notice presidents know how to listen to instructions. We will be giving away 2 sets of tickets. Each winner receives 2 tickets on my private jet. Did you all know that? It's called Southwest, all right? You tell my president at Clemson, our alum, mine's Southwest. He's got the private one, but I got Southwest. I'm very proud of Jim Clements. And the first winner is, and the envelope, drum roll, come on.
Top secret envelope.
Top secret. This is the fun part. And the winner is Shelly Graham. Shelly, where are you? Here, Shelly? Oh, there she is. Hey, Shelly. Enjoy my private jet. Enjoy Southwest, all right?
Okay, second.
And we have a second one. All right. Breath roll, drum roll. This is like the Emmys. I love this part. Oh, wow. The winner is Denise Maringolo. Denise, give her a round of applause. That is great. We always love this part, don't we? Great.
We do.
And now, thank you, Lynn. As we move to the second part of our program, I want us to think about the path over the year and going forward, and a round of applause as we move to the next step. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our president. Can we just take one more moment to celebrate President Hrabowski? As is our tradition, I am here to provide you some updates on the campus. This year in particular, it's exciting because, of course, some of us weren't on campus for most of the year, and there were so many things that happened. And so I am going to pull up, actually somebody behind the curtain is pulling up slides to show you some images of what's been happening on campus over the past year plus. First, you already heard about the renovation of the RAC, and some of you will see some of these spaces today. But for those of you who have joined us online, here are just some teasers on what beautiful spaces you're going to see when you come here. Next slide. We have a new Center for Well-Being. We just completed and moved into this new center, a 25,000 square foot building that is the new home of University Health Services, the Counseling Center, Student Conduct and Community Standards, and a gathering space for spiritual well-being. It's on the same site as the now former 39-year-old temporary trailers that house the Student Development and Success Center. We used off-site modular fabrication, seen in the fabric factory here, that reduced the campus construction schedule by 6 months. So go over, take a look. It's a beautiful building. So we next did many renovations and improvements on campus. And here are some images of those. So happy to say that we've completed 6 elevator upgrades just in time, some of them for the fall semester. 2 in Sondheim, 2 in Fine Arts, 1 in the library, and 1 in Biological Sciences.
Big round of applause, y'all. That's huge, huge.
At True Grits, we replaced the roof. We put in new flooring in the dining room, beautiful, and improved mechanical systems there. Many accessibility improvements on campus that you'll see as you walk around. In the academic buildings, we have new door hardware. We have power-assisted doors on bridges linking the buildings. And we now have access to the lower level of biology and the addition of an accessible all-gender restroom there. For Retriever Soccer Park, we have a new accessible pathway and bleachers for up to 800 fans. Got some improvements in TRC as well, and improved accessible entryways, much needed, and the addition of an accessible all-gender restroom there. And then the Admin 101 Lecture Hall had a complete renovation, including new seating, lighting, projection and sound, technology for remote learning and lecture capture, and power at each student's seat. Next slide, some ongoing projects. So, stadium upgrade project. So at our main stadium, we're going to be putting in a new fan amenities building that will include concessions and restrooms. Those of you who have used those in the past know long overdue. A new press box, and much improved entrance and new seating that with better accessibility, lighting, and more. This project was funded in large part by a $5.5 million allocation from the state through the generous influence and support from the late former House Speaker Mike Bush and our current House Speaker and treasured alumna, Adrienne Jones.
Big round of applause for both of them. For Mike Bush.
Some of you have seen some of the emergency repairs to the exterior of Sherman Hall. That is completed now for fall semester. We have $18 million from the state for utility upgrades. So this includes all kinds of things that are invisible to all of us, including replacing a 25-year-old boiler, portions of our electrical distribution network, and much more. Part of the improvements that we hope to see in the future, BGE announced to us that they've agreed to provide a third electrical feeder to our campus from a different substation, providing redundancy that will reduce the risk of power outages, which would be great.
Big round of applause. Yes. Big round. I want you all to applaud because I want to send it to BGE. Let them know we appreciate it. BGE.
And then we also received a $1 million grant from the Chesapeake and Atlantic Coastal Bays Trust Fund to do major stream restoration and improvements to the Herbert Run Greenway Trail. That's going to happen in the coming year plus. So I am going to end on this slide that more or less speaks for itself. We came back to a beautiful campus, and I say, welcome home.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you to all of my colleagues in facilities management and to all our partners across campus in making all of these things possible. Thank you. Now I'm eager to invite some of our students to the stage, both our student leaders who are already on stage and some of our newest students. Please help me to welcome them.
Big round of applause for our students. Big round of applause. Woo, woo, woo.
Next, we'll hear from Mershad Devon, class of 22, a senior biology major who serves as the SGA president, and the president of the Graduate Student Association, Joel Tyson, class of 18, a graduate student in chemical, biochemical, and environmental engineering.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you all today. The Student Government Association is pleased to welcome you to the new semester. We are so glad that many students are back on campus and are also committed to meeting students wherever they are, through virtual and hybrid meetings and events. For more information on our fall plans, please visit us at sga.umbc.edu. And be sure to check out our booth at the upcoming Involvement Fest, September 9th from 12 to 2 p.m. I am now pleased to introduce our first student speaker. Ashley Gomez is a first-year student from Silver Spring, Maryland. Ashley, welcome. Tell us why you chose UMBC.
Thank you. Well, before I begin, I just want to thank everybody here and thank everybody who made it possible for not only myself, but for my fellow peers to be able to come up here and share our journey. So big round of applause to you guys. So before I begin telling you all why I chose UMBC, I should probably introduce myself. I'm Ashley Gomez. I'm going to be a freshman starting next week. I'm very excited. I graduated from Montgomery Blair High School in Silver Spring, Maryland, which is the largest public high school in Maryland, so it was an experience, to say the least. I am beyond honored to be a part of the Step 15 of the Sherman Scholars Program here at UMBC. And I'm also a first-gen student, so with being a first-gen student, I have come to learn that I am an overachiever, to say the least. And with being an overachiever and the perfectionist that I am comes with juggling so many responsibilities. And with the years of doing that, I've come to learn that balance is essential in life. And learning balance in your life takes a lot of discipline. And I needed a school that reflected my same values, and that's where UMBC shined. UMBC allows me to be a full-time student, still work, be with my family, be a dancer, and accomplish all the dreams that I ever dreamed of doing. UMBC allows me to make my family proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Welcome again. We are excited that you are joining us. And next, I would like to introduce Amira Cooper, a transfer student from Howard Community College. Amira?
So I can't follow that. So hi, I'm Amira Cooper. As Rashad said, I transferred from Howard Community College. I am studying English literature and later secondary education. So yeah, English teacher. I come from a family with two parents who went to Howard University at a young age, so it was either following a legacy or going to UMBC. No, I'm kidding. So I didn't go to the university, but I went to the community college, so I chose UMBC because it has the support and the community that I want to be a part of, especially on my path. And I know there are other universities, but for UMBC, it's always been the answer for me. And I'm so excited to get lost on my first day. Even though I've been on this campus multiple times, I don't remember anything. But I do know that I chose the best university for me, and I might not be a legacy, but I'll make my own legacy here. Thank you.
Thank you, Amira. Welcome to the UMBC family. And now I would like to invite Joel. Joel, could you join me at the podium?
Thank you, Mashad. My name is Joel Tyson. I am the new president of the Graduate Student Association. Thank you. I also earned my bachelor's degree here at UMBC in biochemical engineering in 2018. The Graduate Student Association is very proud to support all of the graduate students at UMBC. This year, the theme of the Graduate Student Association is belonging. Our goal this year is to continue to build foundational work to foster belonging among graduate students and the greater UMBC community, especially as we get accustomed to this new normal. Now, I'm pleased to introduce our graduate student speaker today. Emily Schropp is an incoming master's student in the new Community Leadership Program. Please join me in welcoming Emily.
Thank you, Joel, and I am so happy to be here with all of you today. I would also like to mention that I am the graduate assistant for the Individualized Study Program this year, so big shout out to INDS. Yes, and to UMBC for making such a wonderful learning experience available to the undergraduate students. So if y'all don't know what the individualized study program is, you can come and find me afterwards because I'd love to chat about it. And I'm really excited to be here back in the Baltimore area, even though I moved here from the Adirondacks, which is a state park up in northern New York. I'm originally from Baltimore, and so it's really meaningful to me to have this opportunity to come back to an area where I have my first memories and to get to know it as an adult. So I chose UMBC because I want to be a part of manifesting a more equitable society, and namely, I want to do that through environmental awareness and sustainability, but I'm also really passionate about creative expression and facilitating a space for people to feel comfortable using art as a means of self-discovery. And I know that throughout my course of study in the community leadership program, I will figure out how to hone my passions so that I can use them as a vehicle for helping communities thrive and sustain themselves in a positive way. So I'm so excited to be starting on this journey and to be here with all of you, and I'm looking forward to meeting some of you later. Thanks.
Thank you, Emily. We're really excited that you're joining us. The next speaker is a little unique, and well, not a graduate student, but I'm sure everybody has been thinking about the experiences of our students who are returning to campus for the first time, even though they became retrievers back in 2020. Ben Cole started at UMBC in the fall of 2020, and while he's technically not a new student, this is his first semester learning on campus. We asked him to join us today to reflect on his freshman experience during the pandemic and also to share what he looks forward to as he arrives on the UMBC campus for the first time this fall. Thanks for joining us, Ben.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Joel. My name is Ben Cole. I've lived in Frederick County, Maryland my entire life. And before coming to UMBC, I attended Oakdale High School. I'm a sophomore studying biochemistry on the pre-med track. And one of the reasons I came to UMBC actually came due to unfortunate circumstances. In the summer, like a week before I began 7th grade, I was on a family vacation and I became inexplicably ill. And later we found out that was due to my diagnosis with type 1 diabetes. But that unfortunate circumstance has now inspired me to come to UMBC. And after witnessing how medical professionals took care of me so diligently in the hospital, I hope to become a pediatric endocrinologist one day and help those little diabetic children like me. And fortunately for my ambitions, for what I want to do, UMBC produces such a large percentage of STEM graduates who go on to work in key areas. And I remember during freshman orientation, Dr. LaCourse was reassuring new students that the faculty were equally committed to their students as they were to their research, and that has proved true in my experience so far. And finally, just UMBC was the perfect size for me. It was not too overwhelming, and it still provides me plenty of opportunity to stay involved in all that campus life has to offer. So thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Please join me in thanking all of our student speakers.
Please welcome Dr. Kimberly Moffitt, Interim Dean of the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, Dr. Keith Bowman, Dean of the College of Engineering and Information Technology, and Dr. William LaCourse, Dean of the College of Natural and Mathematical Sciences.
Welcome home, Retrievers. I am so overjoyed to see you in 3D today after 18 months away. My fellow deans and I have been tasked with not only closing out today's ceremony, but also to invite you to be engaged in the process. So you're going to need your phones for this bit. So please get them out and start thinking about your questions. Let's first take a look at social media and see what about some of our wonderful welcome messages. So Dean Bowman has been busy and has said to us on several occasions through his dogs, says that Otto was worried. I told him, I'm sure your friends True Grit 66 and Chip UMBC both know that classes start next week. We also hear from our baseball team. UMBC Baseball says, excited to meet all of the new dogs next week. And then, of course, we have all of the messages about Welcome Week that says to us, 2 days until Welcome Week, time to check out welcomeweek.umbc.edu to check out all of the fun events and activities that are coming your way. Please, I want to encourage you as we are preparing for classes next week and students are coming to campus, please continue to use the hashtag UMBCWelcome to keep those welcome messages coming. In the meantime, we're going to hear from Dean Bowman and talk to about some of those questions that are coming in.
So this is the question of thank you very much, appreciate it. And it's amazing to see these two in 3D. I've been with them so often, so many hours this past 18 months. It's amazing to be with them in person, as is with you. This is the question of whether we can follow instructions, which is always a challenge it's actually a large challenge for me. And so hopefully you've gotten your phone out and you've entered a question. It turns out I don't have a lot of questions right now. So we need some help. I do have a question from Delana Gregg, and we're going to try and answer the questions up here, but you can type your question while I'm reading Delana's question. What is the most important way UMBC staff and faculty can support students returning to campus? Dean LaCourse?
Well, be very welcoming and greet them and show them how much you care about them. You know, don't send them to the next office. Handle it and give them a good, and then show them what you want, what you're made of.
Yeah, I think the same thing, that we've always been a supportive community, making sure that our students know that they are individuals and not just a number or a student face in a classroom. And so if we continue doing what we've always done, I think we'll continue to be successful with our students this year.
So Christopher Bisbels asks, have any new methods of teaching used over the virtual year proven valuable enough to continue to use in person this year? I think I'll start out by answering that is, I've seen a lot of our colleagues innovate. I think I've also seen colleagues retool and decide that their first innovation was not as innovative as the second. So I think the most important thing is to be adaptive. One thing I learned in doing some interviews for some prospective students last spring is that this incoming group of students is also very used to having technology failures, having challenges take place, and finding ways to solve challenges. I think that's going to be one of the most important things, is for us to be resilient and responsive, but also to realize that this group of students coming in has endured something like we never endured as students. They've endured special circumstances, and they're ready to respond to whatever challenge is ahead of them. I don't know if you want to.
I love seeing many of my 20th century colleagues come into the 21st century and making sure that they know how to relate to their students, and they've done it brilliantly. And so I think to Dean Bowman's point, many of the trials that happened along the way that they weren't able to do so successfully, but continuing to work at it and retool and learning, in fact, that they've developed new skills that they want to be able to share with our students, I think is fabulous.
So I'm really interested in this question relative to my two colleagues. And the question was, what are your go-to spots on campus? I think it got edited, right? It's right here it's from Marie. What are your go-to spots on campus? What are your go-to spots on campus, Kimberly?
Wow. I don't know if I have any. Wherever the students are is usually where I'm trying to hang because I want to talk to students. So wherever they are, if that means you need to come by my office, I encourage you to do so because I'm looking forward to students being back on campus. You are the lifeblood of this campus, and having you back is so very exciting, so I'm looking forward to you sharing space with me wherever that is.
So Dean, of course, I don't know the answer to this question. Where should I really be looking for you as your go-to spot?
So sometimes when you get fed up with things or you want to go out and take a break and just look, I love walking down the central corridor of campus. And I don't know, they have its number of different names. I usually call it like the Black and Gold Highway, and I've heard other ones. But it starts at the administration building and goes down to the library. And as you walk through between the buildings and the trees and the caretaking and the planning that goes into making it look like it does, to me, it is UMBC. It is the campus. And through that, you can find your connections with the classrooms, with the old quad, University Center. You go by the artwork that's in the biology building. You can see the ILSB in the distance. If you stop by the pond, right, take a look over. I went fishing this summer, couldn't catch anything. There's huge ones in the pond. So I would have loved to caught one of those. But, and then you end up what is probably some of the heart of the campus is the library. So that's where you'd find me, just walking, meeting. And the thing I missed most is the impromptu meetings. Everything's been so planned, just running into people. That's what I find is the best.
So I think that's really important, is that the first several days that I spent back on campus earlier this summer, I tried to force myself to make sure I walked around campus and see all the work that Len and his folks have been doing to make the campus look as it does. But one of the things I also imagined was seeing a lot more of you and a lot more students. And so I'm looking forward to that so much as we get ready for next week. We're going to close the question part out now. My colleague, Dean LaCourse, is going to finish the program. You may have thought that we're on these 3 stools and we're going to do a musical performance. That's not us. So, Dean LaCourse.
Thank you. First, I definitely want to thank my colleagues for working with the Slido and the technology. You notice they didn't give anything to me to work with, so that's because I've been here a few years, and they know my reputation. But what they're able to show you is that with very little training, because I was here through the whole training episode yesterday, they can use Slido and put things up on the screens. And what's good for all of us is this is available to use for you to use in your classrooms as well. And soon, you'll be able to use Slido to liven up those WebEx meetings that you look forward to every day. So we'll see where we go with those. But on a more serious note, I want to thank all of you for your time today. Time is precious. I know we're over time, Lisa, but it's important for the people that are here and the people that are at home watching us. I've been at UMBC's been my home for a very long time. In fact, my first day started when Freeman was the year he started being president, so I've been with him for a while. And like many of you, I've missed being on this beautiful campus. And you've seen a lot of the pictures today. Conversing with my colleagues, however you meet them. And more important, experiencing the energy of students. It keeps me young, and I look forward to it. So it's good to be back home again with all of you. I'll just tell you plainly. And I think it's together we will have a great year. That's what I say. So we're going to end today's program with one more Slido activity and a performance. It's not going to be by us, so you don't have to worry about it. But first, I have to take care of a few details. After our final performance, please consider joining us for lunch on the Commons Terrace. Box lunches are provided under the tent, and there is some limited distance seating that's available. To reduce the crowding, when you exit the building, any of the 4 corners, look for the green signs, so make your way out. And finally, if you're interested in taking a campus tour, a tour of the RAC, learning more about accessibility routes on campus, please visit the tables in the lobby. Now, to say something I never would have known I would have said my entire life, it is my pleasure to invite the UMBC Down and Dirty Dog Band and members of the UMBC dance team and the UMBC cheerleaders to join us on the stage and on the floor. Woo-hoo! Woo, woo, woo! I think you guys got all spots up there, right? All right. Looks like we're set here. I'm going to have one final request. I want you to take a moment, now that you're an expert in Slido, and would give us one word that you think best describes UMBC. Use your phones and put that in there, and at some point you're going to see a word cloud of everything that you put together. One last thing. Welcome home, Retriever Nation.